Hello everybody, Pounding Rocks checking in, and today this is a Pathfinder pickup update, and I'm not near the truck. I did a lot of work on it last night, but nothing was really like film worthy because it was more like me just fighting with a certain item on this truck that I'm going to tell you guys about here right now. And in order to show you guys, we're going to consult one of my many truck Bibles here. The transmission out of that truck is out of a 1990 Pathfinder, and I just so happen to have a 1990 Pathfinder service manual. This one's a little been used, but this is handy information. So if you guys go on eBay or you find one of these things, they're awesome. If not, a lot of these have been uploaded to nissanservicemanual.com, and they're in PDF format. So here's what I've been fighting here. For all to see is the transfer case. When I went to go pull the shift lever to put this thing in four-wheel drive and just move it back and forth, there's this linkage right here that's got a ball joint on it. And at the bottom, this ball joint threads into this lever right here, and this lever will turn in all the different positions. There's two-wheel, four-wheel, neutral, and four low. And it's supposed to, the ball joint is like a Heim joint kind of setup here. And when I went to pull it, the ball joint broke off, and what's left of the bolt part is stuck in this lever here. And you can't really get good access to it because, one, you've got cross members in the way. Two, you've got the output flange for the forward drive shaft right in the way there. So my initial thought was to try and use a right angle drill to drill this hole out, and then I could just take this bolt and put a nut behind it and lock it down that way. See how that goes. Well, yeah, that wasn't happening, and I was getting frustrated. So my next thought was to just cut this whole thing into pieces and just remove it that way. There's a lock piece here. If this camera could ever focus on this thing. There we go. You see this little bolt looking thing here on the end of it? Yeah, that's a lock. So what happened was there's a 10 millimeter nut there. Excuse me, my allergies are bothering me today. There's a 10 millimeter nut that you got to take off with, and there's two washers behind it. And then the whole thing that Nissan says to do is to take a drift and pound out this lock. It's like a almost like a kingpin kind of key lock thing. It's flat on one side, and then it's got a stud on the end of it. You're supposed to pound it out backwards, and it'll slide out, and then this arm will come off the shaft. Well, I put a drift on it and completely bent the stud part of it upwards, so I got really mad. And then I was like, well, I'm done for the night, or whatever. I'm done breaking stuff. I've had enough fun already. And so I packed it in, and then my one buddy Brian, he goes, well, why don't you just thread the nut back on there, tighten it down till it breaks the stud off, and then take the drift and put it all the way through and pound that out that way. So that's exactly what I did. I took the nut, tightened it down, broke the stud off, and then put the drift in. And you got to put a long drift in because there's a cross member that goes right here. You got to put a long drift in and pound it out backwards. And the lock finally came out. So it came out in two pieces. I'm assuming it's something that I can buy from the dealer. I'm going to research that tomorrow and see if that's a possibility. If not, then I'm probably just going to end up doing like a bolt and washer just to, you know, tighten it down and keep it locked in place. But it's got like it's almost like one flat side, so it'll never so this won't slip on the spindle or on the shaft that it's on. I did not get this off the transmission last night. I was just celebrating that I was able to get the lock out. But I'm going to have to put a puller on it and pull it off using an actual puller because it's still wedged on there pretty good. And then obviously from there I will clean the inside of it up and put grease on it, and it'll slide back in. I'll get a new lock and nut and put it on, and then I'll have my ability to screw this bolt. This camera's terrible. Apologize. There we go. screw this bolt into this Heim joint piece here and screw it into there, and then I'll be able to shift my four-wheel drive. The other thing I did is I extended the manual transmission shifter about 4 inches up, so now it's at a good height and it'll fit the boot just fine, and it'll look factory. So that's the other thing I worked on. And yeah, that's all I got to report. So this whole picture here is what we're working on. This is the phase that we're on in this truck, and it's all because the rubber boot here that's supposed to keep the elements out ripped on the original shifter and allowed crap to get in there, and it seized the Heim joint. So I sprayed it with a penetrating oil, hoping that I could get it to move again. I let it sit for 2 weeks, and then when I pulled the shift lever, it just broke right off. So you could just, the shifter's just flopping in the breeze there. So I took the whole shifter off, the whole assembly, everything from top all the way to bottom. You take these 2 bolts out and it'll just slide right off. Or this plate right here is the pivot point where it's mounted. So I took these 2 bolts out here, slid that off. I have that spare transmission in my barn, so I took that one off. That one's got a good ball joint with a good bolt and everything on it. And it's mounted, it's bolted in. I can shift it. It's just I got to get this connected to that. So that's what we're working on. This fun. This is nitty gritty stuff. That's why there's no video to show you guys actually on the truck, because it's just didn't want to actually take time, stop working to film this. I want to just keep going. So this is Benny, new dog. Apparently he's trying to approve of. This dog is wild, by the way. He's absolutely insane. Yeah, this is an insane dog. Yeah. So that's what we did, and I'll keep you guys posted on this. Once this is done, I can get the drive shaft, the front drive shaft bolted back on, because I had to disconnect it from here so I could get at that piece. And once I did that, it was, you know, I can get that back in. I can put the rear drive shaft back in, or yeah, I can put that in because I'll know that the transmission's in neutral now. And then it's just a matter of plumbing and electrical and cosmetics. This thing might run sooner than I thought, but I'm going to keep plugging away on it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and have yourself a fantastic rest of your week. Pounding Rocks, signing off.